9:30. Just like we said, we'll start at 9:30.
I think we said 10, but
we're revising our start time. Welcome, everybody. Kevin, our main listener, watcher.
Hi, Kevin.
Good morning, it's Kevin. He's like in the house, like, this sounds a test. Can't hear you.
Oh,
You're
yeah.
upside down.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, it's fine. So, good morning again. We are here this morning with the lovely ladies from the Chamber of Commerce, Kendal and Kate, and a special guest. Can I say award-winning special guest? I think I can. DPW's own Jimmy Turner. Welcome. Thanks for being here. Can we start with? I'm going to shut that door so we're not freezing.
Sure.
But can we start with your award and your? Oh, I was going to shut that because it was cold. Okay. Whoops, sorry. See, this is how it always goes, just a little messy. Tell us what award you won recently, and
I recently at the Snowflake Soiree Gala won the Chamber Choice Award for supporting the chamber as much as I can possibly, I guess. Volunteer when I can.
yeah.
Yeah.
well, congratulations.
Thank
how, Like we were talking before, how do these awards get awarded? I guess that's something I'd like to know more about.
So the Chamber Choice Award specifically is handpicked by our staff. But we do have a committee for annual gala. So we leave it open to the members to vote on the first 5 awards, which is volunteer, young professional, nonprofit, small business, and Rising Star. The president of the board picks the Legacy Award winner. So there's various awards, and then we have a matrix where the majority of the votes become the winner, but specifically for Jimmy. And then it was Tanya Carson from Clarkston Living as well that we picked. We normally just pick one, but we just love them both so much. They're so helpful.
Help us a lot.
We were sitting there trying to talk about it, and we both just agreed that there's no way we could just pick one between them. They both were such a huge help to us this year and support, so very well deserved.
That's amazing. They have not one but 2 that you can
Yeah.
decide between. Like,
Yeah.
that's a great problem to have.
Yeah,
Yes.
so we were like, you know what, we're going to do 2 this year, and hopefully it'll encourage others just to be involved as much as possible. And Jimmy has done a lot of work for the Chamber this past year. We have an event trailer, but we do not have a truck. So every time we need to move the trailer, Jimmy brings his truck, so that obviously is a huge help, as you can imagine. We have a ton of events, and we're constantly loading and unloading that trailer, so Jimmy gets saved the day multiple times this
Yes.
How many years has Jimmy worked for DPW?
This will be my 4th winter, I think, so 3.5 years.
Okay. And I think we were just discussing you did graduate from Clarkston
Correct.
High School.
2002.
2002.
Before we talk a little bit more in detail about what we're up to this morning, can you talk a little bit more about the soiree, how it went, and all the fun you guys had?
Yeah, so this past Thursday night was our annual awards gala. We hosted it at Deer Lake Athletic Club, which they're always wonderful to work with. They have great food, and it's an awesome location.
Yeah.
So we were there this past Thursday, and then we obviously gave out the awards. We had 10 awards to give out this year, which was exciting. All of our award winners also got special tributes from Lansing that Senator Jim Runstad sent over to us, so that was exciting to be able to include. But Kate entitled this year's theme the Snowflake Soiree, so everything was very blue vibes in Deer Lake Athletic Club. A ton of people dressed up, I feel like, and went along with the theme, which I love a good theme, so that's nice to see. But we had 140 guests, which was our largest gala that we've had since my time at the Chamber. So that was really nice just to collect a big group, and it's basically to celebrate what our Chamber has accomplished in the past year, but also, what the community has accomplished too. We had folks from the library, a ton of different nonprofit groups. Jimmy was there. I had to invite him a couple months ago, so he had no idea he was getting an award, but I was like, hey, you should come hang out with us.
What are you doing Thursday?
Yeah, so it was a couple months in the making. I told him he could hang out with my husband and keep Jacob company.
Tricked me good.
Yeah. Yeah, Kate and I were also trying to figure out, at what point Jimmy, in our little speech for him, did he realize that maybe we were talking about him? Because we try and write everything so it's, generic, and then it gets
Yeah.
more and more specific.
Did you know, Jimmy? How at what point did you know?
It's one of those things where you like kind of deny, no way, it's not. And then when they mentioned they had gotten a word from the city manager about me, which basically locked it in. I mean, well, obviously, if they talk to him, he's probably the one person that would be saying those things about me. So, big shout out to him. Thank you, Jonathan.
Yeah. I was going to say, Jonathan, Kate, and I are probably your biggest fans.
Yeah,
So.
I'm very lucky to work with a great group of people. I will say, makes me love my job, honestly. So,
Fantastic. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
good. Well, sounds like a big success. I was there playing tennis that night, actually, and I was
Oh
like,
my
what's
gosh.
happening here? I'm like, well, it's
You know
the
what?
Snowflake thing.
So Kate and I, and every year we set the room up, just in comfier, casual clothes, and then we got ready in the locker room, and so many women were like, "What are you guys getting ready for? What are you doing?" So we had makeup everywhere, and I had a bunch of bags and clothes and shoes, and so we got to tell everyone why we were there and what we were doing.
Like, come in your tennis skirt.
Yeah. You're in your bathing suit, come on down.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's one of my favorite parts of the room too. Kate and I always joke that because the main event room looks over the pool. And I was like, we could get synchronized swimmers or hire
that'd be so
mermaids.
One year.
Yeah, Amy from Parks and Rec, she loves mermaids. So,
Yeah.
and she was our committee chair. So
Maybe we'll have to, since she's our 2025 president-elect, just for Amy.
this is for you, Amy.
Yes.
These mermaids are for you.
Air?
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing. Okay, she'll make it happen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I think we were talking about too all of the pictures you guys had shared of everybody that was there. Beautiful pictures, and I think they're all on your Facebook page.
Those were by
From-
John Ransom from Winship Studio, and
Okay.
he did such a beautiful job. And it's really nice. He'll bring these little mini, I don't know, like frames, I guess, but they're cardboard. But he'll print live while he takes the photos, so people have a little keepsake that they can take home with them, and that's so special. He did that at our Pumpkins and Pastures event this year as well, and it's just a nice touch for people to have that memory. And
The golf
Yeah.
outing, he did that.
oh yeah,
too.
yep, he did at the golf outing.
Yeah, the pictures
Yeah.
are beautiful.
Yeah, he did an amazing job.
Yeah, John's super talented, and he usually he's always at our events. I feel
Yeah.
like he comes to ribbon cuttings too to take photos, but especially for the gala, I mean, I feel like when everyone was coming in too, they're all checking everyone out because it's so much more of a dressy,
Yeah.
event too.
Yeah.
So being able to capture that and then have the keepsake to take with you was really nice. So we always
Yeah.
appreciate when he's willing to help us out.
He is great. You guys were busy though, because then on Saturday the Holiday Lights Parade, so it's like been nonstop over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, so we had Holiday Market at the end of November, and then our women's group had our final event for the year at the Honeycomb at Essence on Main, and that was the day before our annual gala. And then
Board retreat.
yeah, we had our board retreat in November. We had a board meeting last Thursday morning, so Kate and I took Friday to rest and recover. I slept most of the day at home. But yeah, and then Saturday was actually my first time attending the Lights Parade. So that was really great to see. I think I'd like to figure out a way the chamber could be involved with that.
But gosh, can we talk about union joints?
Oh my gosh.
Float.
I've been talking about this.
Yeah, she was showing me.
Amazing.
I didn't
Awesome.
attend, but she
Yeah.
was showing me videos yesterday, and I'm like, "Whoa, wow, that's amazing!
They
like,
were
that's
what,
crazy."
like hot air balloon
Baskets.
baskets,
Yeah.
just lighting off fire. They went underneath the lights.
Yeah.
We're all like,
That's on
Yeah.
the power lines.
Yes.
Oh, what are you
The
Jimmy
doing?
was
video was a little
nervous.
intense. Like it
There's
was
a bunch of
amazing.
really dry
It
trees
was
along there
amazing.
now. Like,
Glad nothing came out of that in a negative way. Because I'm like, "Oh, that looks a little
Yeah,
scary."
it was amazing. And I said,
Cool.
because Elvis was on that float, I was like, it's burning love.
Yeah.
And then I saw the Union Joints posted at the end of the night, and it was an
Burning
ode to Elvis, and it was burning love. So,
Aw,
that was super great.
it looked awesome.
yeah,
Good. Well,
it was great.
I missed it, so I have to look at those videos. I wasn't able to be there, but
Oh
that
my
sounds
gosh.
amazing. They did not harm the clock though, which
no harm was done to the clock in the making of the parade, fortunately, with yet
the
again.
clock didn't burn down,
Yeah.
which is good
Yeah.
because this is our big feature this morning. We went to visit the clock in downtown, right in front of the Fed, and Jimmy can tell us all about this clock that everyone passes every day, but I'm not sure everyone knows like anything about it except for there's that pretty iconic clock. It's been there for a very long time, but you have more info to share.
Yeah.
So real quick, Kendall has been wanting to do this piece. She's really been very excited about the winding of the clock and the fact that this is something that happens weekly. And with Clarkstonopoly coming out and the chamber being on the board and the clock being represented in their logo, we thought like this is the perfect time to really draw attention to that amazing clock. So
It's definitely got a lot of history. A lot of people take a notice to it and talk about it all the time. To me, it's become a bit of just a thing I do every Monday, and I don't really think about it much. And then people will see me whining it, which is something we do, and all of a sudden all these questions kind of come up, and I forget how interesting it can be to somebody who doesn't deal with it every day.
Right.
Yeah.
By the way, it is a 1909 Seth Thomas Street clock. That's when it was originally manufactured. However, it didn't come to Clarkston in 1909. It actually was really installed in Iowa, in front of a store shop. I'm not exactly sure. Dubuque, Iowa, if I'm saying that right. It was there for roughly 6 years. The shop there, I'm assuming, closed up, but eventually ended up getting sold to a jeweler in Wisconsin. He's had it in front of his shop for a long time. Upon his retirement in the 80s, from my understanding, the town was hoping to inherit this clock for themselves, essentially, and they kind of expected him to donate it. The story goes that he didn't really feel that inclined to donate it. He found a buyer. So the buyer was a man from Florida, which I have his name on here somewhere. That's usually important. But so the man from Florida bought it. He was an antique dealer in the 80s. Once again, he took it down there, put it in some antique catalogs, which kind of sold himself. He bought it for, actually I don't know what he bought it for. The original sale price, though, in 1909 was $350. I do know that.
Wow.
So he had it in Florida for a little while. Right around that same time, the township had a council put together called the Independence Township Sesquicentennial Council. They basically were trying to do something to commemorate the sesquicentennial. No, I say that all the time, no problem. Did not have to look up what it was either. It's definitely
Wow.
150-year anniversary or birthday.
I'm like, why would anybody name themselves that?
Yeah. Just to really confuse everyone.
That's so creative.
So their thing they wanted to do to commemorate that was they wanted to get a clock for the town. That was their push, I guess. They did a bunch of fundraising, private donors. They sold shirts and mugs, and they had a local designer come up with a design and a logo for the sesquicentennial. It's actually the plaque that's on the front of the clock is kind of reminiscent of it. So they sold all this memorabilia for it. The Burger King in town actually supposedly did a fundraiser where they, every 50 cents for every hamburger went towards it.
So cool.
So there were other entities obviously involved in that. But once the money was gathered together, they made a deal with this guy from Florida to purchase this clock. $18,000, $500 to install it. Interesting story connected to that I found out that I had to kind of ask some older generations about this, but around the same time we made the deal to purchase the clock, there was a big show in the 80s called the PTL Club, which is the Pray to Life or
Praise the Lord.
Praise the Lord, thank you. I didn't know anything about this. Apparently it was super big back in the 80s. Older people generally know about it. Everyone knew about this show. It was a couple of evangelists on TV that, did their thing. They tried to buy the clock for they were building a theme park, essentially, at the time, called Warship USA. And right after we had made that deal, they came in, were trying to purchase this clock. And obviously we had already slipped in and got it. I'm not real sure how that all ended. They ended up in jail, I guess, for tax evasion or using funds illegally or something like that. Yeah. The two evangelical pastors, I guess, did. Yeah. Yep. This sparked a whole lot of memories for people when in the office when I brought this up.
I think it was.
I think I watched a
Jim and
I think
Tammy
grandma watched it all the time.
Backer, yep. Jim and Tammy Backer, yep.
Tammy Faye with all the makeup.
Yeah, she was known for crying, lots of makeup.
Yes.
Known for crying.
wanted to buy
So
our
I've been
clock.
told, yeah.
I mean, that is an amazing story.
No idea.
I thought that was a neat connection.
That is a cool
Even though I didn't know what that show was or anything about it, once I started getting everyone sparked on it.
Well, it was abbreviated in all of the articles.
Oh yeah, it must have been so
too,
well known that they didn't even bother to mention the Praise the Lord Club. They just called it PTL Club in every article. And I was like, what's a PTL
Well, that's
Club?
now like an accepted slang for saying praise the Lord.
Is it? Yeah.
PTL.
Okay.
Yeah.
Word on the street.
Yeah,
It's like LOL.
Jimmy on
It's,
the
you
street,
know.
now you know.
yeah.
PTL. baby.
I thought it was an entity of the village that I was trying to figure out what club this was and why they were involved, and then that all made sense then after that. So it was installed July 1st, 1987, by the guy from Florida with the help of DT, I guess it was Detroit Edison at the time. They used a crane truck for it, and then they also had the help from the maintenance crew of the bank that's in front of, which at the time was the Pontiac State Bank. They also helped install it. It was refurbished at the time and also had lights installed, which is kind of the one thing that doesn't necessarily work on it anymore right now are the lights. But yeah, so it was kind of a hot topic when I first took over. Didn't necessarily work when I first got here. It was something that we had been told it needed too much repair and it was kind of out of commission. Never really messed with it much until the current maintenance guy of the Fed, Craig Miller, he was talking to me about it one day, and we happened to walk over there, and we wound it up, and he played around with a couple screws, and we found this little set screw for it, and next thing you know, it started ticking and came back to life, and it's definitely by no means in perfect condition. It could use some work here and there, but it is operational now, and we just wind it every Monday. It's a 7-day clock, so it's kind of...
Do we have any idea what it would take to get the lights fixed?
That's where I think I was told there was a quote one time to fix it back when, and I was told it was an astronomical number of maybe $10,000 or something like that. And I'm assuming that was to clean it up, fix the face a little bit, and then probably get the lights working as well. Which I'm sure there's also some maintenance things they probably want to do while they're in there as well. It was a clock expert of some sort that I'm told gave that quote. So something maybe I will at one point, maybe next summer, something get up there and take a look at, or talk to Jonathan about getting some kind of fundraising going, because it's definitely going to need some investment in the next few years. If you get real close, you can kind of see the age and wear on the face. The face of it is actually made out of a wood ring. Most of it is cast iron. So
you every Monday morning you're out there winding the clock?
Every Monday we usually wind the clock. Yep.
At your own peril, today you did have an injury.
Yes, I.
Like to know.
Trying to show you how to wind it. It is a tight space you get into to wind it, and when you're by yourself, it's one thing, no problem. But when you're trying to show someone and be in there, it's a little awkward. Because the deck from the Fed is currently built around it, which is kind of a deal that was made between the city and the Fed when they went to go make their deck to keep the light or the clock where it is, but also allow them to create the deck space that they have now, and it looks nice. I think where it's sitting, it's a little tight, but all we need to get in there. So
we did right before we're filming this shoot a video of Jimmy winding the clock, so we'll share that out here in a little bit. But pretty interesting.
Yeah. No.
Yesterday, Jimmy was saying that it was brought from Florida in a pickup truck, and that it's over 2,000 pounds. Did you say?
Oh yeah, the weight of the clock is about 2,500 pounds.
It's crazy to think that it was just transported from Florida to Michigan. I was looking at it this morning. I'm like, wow, that was a feat. That was a
Especially
big deal.
when you're standing up close to it.
Yeah.
And I would imagine too. Obviously, the Fed has a lot of regulars and people from town where we see it all the time, but they have a ton of guests. I'm sure that
It's so
ask
cool.
questions about it and look at it.
Yeah, and just the counterweight inside that runs the mechanism, just that weight alone is 800 pounds. So
Wow.
it doesn't look like 800 pounds. It looks fairly small, really, but yeah, it kind of gives you an idea of how much weight is there.
That's such a cool part of our town's history.
Yeah.
And I've lived here a very long time, didn't know that story.
That's the story of Jimmy.
And that was when this was technically a village still. It's a city now, we call it the city of the village. So yeah, it was definitely just a different time for sure. And at the time, it was actually... There was no deck around it. It was landscaped with brick pavers and benches by what I've read is Lowry's Landscape. Still here today. Tom Lowry, see him often.
And Angie, the current owner.
And current owner,
is on our board too.
So that's a cool connection. I always thought that was interesting. I knew he'd been here a while, but to think that he was there when this all happened, I haven't had a chance to talk to Tom about it, but I'm kind of curious to hear his side of what he remembers about the installation and everything around it,
Tom, I'm sure Tom's listening. Tom, if
Yes.
you're listening,
Yeah.
get back to us.
And if anyone
Yeah,
has
talk
one
to
of the
Tom.
fundraising mugs, we would love to get that.
So that's interesting. We did find in here, there is an example of the artwork that the guy who created the sesquicentennial logo and label that they had on all those mugs and whatnot. I had mentioned to Kendall about how we should try to do something with it to kind of reminisce it a little bit. This is it right here. I don't know if you can see it on the camera or not, but this is the original sesquicentennial artwork that was created to put on mugs and T-shirts and other things.
That's so cool.
That's very cool.
Yeah, so it'd be kind of cool to bring it back, maybe modernize it a little bit,
Yeah.
maybe find some local graphic designer that wants to play around with it.
Well, we can't really wait to the bicentennial. I like to keep using these.
Yeah,
numbers.
That one's easier to say.
Yeah.
That's a better ways.
So
but-
2036 or something
Yeah.
like that. Yeah.
But the chamber is 5 years, so we did
Oh.
for 40 years.
Mhm.
We're coming up on that. But I actually always wondered too why, because the clock is in our chamber logo, but that was the year the chamber was founded when the clock was put in too. So
Oh,
we're gonna track some of our
Yeah.
founders down.
It's gonna be a
but
cool connection.
yeah, but that must be why. And even reading these newspaper articles too, like it was called the Clarkston Business Association at the start, but that's what it has turned into our chamber. So it was cool just to read the
All of-
history and.
All of our annual gala awards were shaped like the clock.
Really?
So,
Yeah. So
Yeah.
I said I was Jimmy, where's your award? But it truly is the exact face of the clock, and Todd from the Gateway
He did
custom
such a
made
good
them
job.
all.
Oh,
Yeah.
Todd.
Yeah,
He
he
did a
saves
great
the
job.
day.
Yes.
Cheers.
Oh,
Todd.
we love Todd.
Cheers to Todd.
Yeah, he's so great. I mean, he's so creative too. Like I was like, can you make this happen?
We
wanna
sent
just
him our
incorporate
logo.
the clock.
We sent him like the chamber logo, and we said, "What can you do?
Are
Make
they
it happen."
Oscars, like a little clock? Is that what they were? I'm trying to.
It's
Yeah, so
just
it's like
It's the head.
and
of the-
well,
yeah.
even
like
like this.
glass looking, like clear.
Like laser cut plexi.
They're laser
you know?
cut.
Yes,
Yeah.
it's acrylic, but like the top is
Has all that.
Has all the
exactly
detail.
cut out, and I think he said it was like 9.5 inches tall. So I mean, it will look beautiful on your shelf.
Yeah.
And just something, more unique. We've given
Yeah.
out, the beautiful glass awards, but Kate and I were like, we want to build the connection to when people see the clock, we want them to think of the
Clarkston.
chamber, so, and Clarkston, so whenever we can push that out there, we do, but
He's
Todd
so
always
creative.
raises the bar,
He
yeah.
did golf ball shaped awards for our golf outing. They looked like golf balls. It was so cute. So once we knew he was capable of that kind of creativity,
Yeah,
we were
right.
like,
There
"What
is
else
a
can
lot.
Send
you
him
do?"
an idea, and
There's a lot. We're like, what are you working on?
Yeah.
Oh, that's for Lexus?
Yeah, he had one of our awards out, and he was like, "Oh, these are a surprise, right?" And I was like, "Yes, please put that away. We don't need someone in town either being the winner themselves there, or
yeah.
word on the street. Then we're going to spark some rumors
That could
beforehand,
happen.
and we have a few more days of secrecy." Because we used to do where the winners knew prior to the event, but we switched it up, so we just tell all of the nominees that they've been nominated, and then it's more of a surprise. So we had to. Todd knew. He knew beforehand, but it was
I
a
think it's more
surprise.
fun, a little element of surprise.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And then you get to walk up the big stairs at
Yes.
like athletic club and.
Do you have to give a speech? Was there a speech involved, like an
Oh,
acceptance?
thankfully, no.
Oh, that's so stressful.
Yeah, last year, Fred Ritter, who used to own Clarkston Auto Wash, he is super involved still with our chamber too. He was on our board in years past, and he gave us a speech because he won the Legacy Award. But if you know Fred, that's just a Fred thing.
Yes,
so
that was my
he
very
took the
first
mic
job.
over.
Clarkston Auto Wash. The
Aw.
first day they opened, I was there.
Oh, wow.
That?
I love that.
Yeah, I love Fred. We should probably have him on because
Yeah.
we were just talking about his family's history about moving the Ritter house
Oh, yeah,
to
that's
Main
right.
Street. So, Fred, if you're listening,
Yes.
hello, nice to see you, and be prepared to come on and chat with us.
He would be great.
Yes, love Fred. Okay, so talking about the chamber, we're about ready to get to Christmas here. What are the big events coming up that you guys have on your
Or
radar?
have you covered them all?
I know,
So,
you survived.
This Thursday is our final business over breakfast at Fountains. That is our largest, we call them Bob's, but our largest business over breakfast for the year, and then we are done. But that doesn't mean Kate and I are not hard at work now. We're just kind of resetting for everything for next year. So we're starting to have sponsorship meetings to go over all of our events for next year. We're figuring out our calendar, and then
Getting started on marketing for Women in Business and Food Truck Rally.
those are
so
both
in May.
our first two big events in May next year.
Will that be in Eamons again, the food truck?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I forget the exact date, May 17th, but it's the
17th,
Friday
May
before
17th.
Memorial Weekend.
Yeah.
And then Women in Business is the first Wednesday in May every year. So those are both.
And it's funny because to everyone right now that sounds so far out, but to us we know we're
No,
gonna
it's not.
blink and it will be here. So we're getting started now, so that everything can go very smoothly. Yeah.
I feel like right now there's a lot of businesses who are accepting donations for various charities, and I know I just kind of want to talk about a couple of them that are fresh on my brain. I know Morgan Milzow and Ford are accepting donations right in their downtown location. That's more like clothing, gently used and new, and toys and that kind of thing.
Oh, that's for Neighbor for Neighbor.
Neighbor for Neighbor, yeah,
Neighbor,
sorry,
yeah.
blankets and that kind of thing. I saw on your website, their Douglas Water, they're having a Toys for Tots collection. You guys were talking about that ends on Friday.
Is Bowman?
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know
theirs?
Bowman
Okay.
always does Toys for Tots too, so I think any of the Bowman locations have boxes where you can bring toys to drop off.
Yes, and the other ones, I'm sure there's a bunch of others, but those were up in my
Oh gosh,
head.
I'm trying to think.
Remember
Is the
that?
Clarkston Farm doing anything?
They did something
Yeah,
already.
yeah,
I think
because
a lot of them are
it was
kinda
like a
wrapping
raffle
up
basket
just
thing,
because we're
wasn't
so
it?
close to the holidays.
Yeah.
Yes, they did that.
We shared that, I know.
Draw, which is disaster relief at work, they have their big holiday concert coming up. I think it's this weekend. But that's in Pontiac at, I believe, I can't think of the name, but the theater in downtown.
Is that
Strand.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Greg Martin, he's a member with us, but that is a pretty awesome event. I know I always recognize some of the musicians that we book too, so there's some overlap there. But that's coming up. And then
I took a note, Uncle Peter's.
Oh
There's,
yeah, wasn't
they
he
have-
doing something?
Yeah, he's got something this weekend. Santa will be there on Saturday, 11 to 3, and there's a book
Yeah.
signing, a book by Lisa McCarthy, inspiring book of
Oh.
poems, dreams, and stories.
Ooh.
So she'll be there on Saturday, and you can get a free picture with Santa.
I know RBC and Company is going to do a pop-up, I think this weekend
Yeah, it's
on
this
Saturday.
Saturday.
Will that be at Main Street?
Yes.
That'd be, she has such cute stuff, and like last second gifts would be
And we
great
had shared
through
a link to
her.
that on our website,
Yeah.
and on our Facebook and Instagram,
Yeah.
right, that is happening.
Okay, cool.
that's a
I know
good
she
idea to keep in mind for gifts. I'm
provides
just gonna buy stuff
champagne.
for myself. Yeah, I was gonna say, Mallory always
Yeah.
is bubbly.
like this one's for me. This one's also for me.
And we are going to be at the Honeycomb again this Friday, Saturday, because One Ton Trolley is playing.
You know,
Oh my gosh, I
One
want to
Ton
go to that
Trolley
so
shirt on.
bad.
It's underneath.
Oh, I was like,
Yeah, no, this is like Santa.
Yeah.
That's logo.
We're
No,
sponsored.
these are our Christmas presents because we all have a sick obsession with Coca-Cola in various forms. So
it's not an endorsement, but it's
No.
like,
Yeah,
I told her
the
that.
chamber
I
does
said-
function. Drinking
I said we
Coca-Cola
need to have a
Diet.
picture of us all holding our cans and tag Coca-Cola and see what they do, and just sit back and wait. Just we're famous now.
Yeah.
wait for
so.
the endorsement.
Yeah. Maybe we'll have
Do the
Coke
same.
products at least.
Maybe they'll join the chamber. That'd be amazing.
They wanna
Coke
talk-
needs all the help they can get, really. So.
we did want to talk to you just about Clarkston and a little follow up on what's happening there.
Yes.
We're doing pre-sales on our website right now, and we did just add like a printable voucher. So if somebody wants to give it to somebody for Christmas, even though it's not out until the spring, you can
Oh,
order a
very
copy,
cool.
print out a voucher, give them the voucher, and
Awesome.
then they can pick it up in the spring.
Which we are encouraging people to do because this will be limited edition. Once we order the boards, that's it. We can't order any more. So we anticipate it selling out. So people who want to do a last minute Christmas gift, hop on the website.
That's so
And it will be
exciting.
for sale at local retailers too, though, in the spring when the actual
Limited
physical
quantities.
boards
And
get here. Yeah.
So yeah, there's other opportunities,
Yeah.
but and then we are hoping to send out an email later this week. And there's information on our website about how other businesses can get involved with our board. We're now selling chance and community chess cards. So we'll be sending out more info on that.
Awesome.
This is so exciting.
It is. It's super exciting, and we're almost finished securing all of the main spots on the board. It's pretty much all wrapped up, and we're really excited because it's like this. We tried. I don't know if you're familiar with our version of this game is like classic Clarkston, like iconic businesses that have been around and organizations, and we've had such a great response, and we're super excited, and we think it's just going to be amazing. So we're excited about this. We also have a giveaway for a board, also on our social media and our website, I
Yep.
believe. So, like, stay tuned for that. So for the giveaway, and if you're a local business and would like to get involved, there's still a chance.
You can go to connectingclarkston.com.
There's still a chance.
There's
There's
still a
still a
chance.
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 Draw that card.
So good.
I was just thinking we should maybe have like a ribbon cutting once the boardrooms are here to kind of, special release them since it's
We
only
have been
limited.
talking about doing board cutting, and maybe that's the perfect
That's a
time.
great idea. Okay.
And maybe everybody wears a mustache.
That'd be amazing.
I would love
Mustache.
to do that.
Ribbon cutting.
Let's do that. Let's cheers on that. Let's make it happen.
Okay.
We'd like, and thank you to Emma from Essence on Main for always having these amazing mugs in stock. This is Good Morning Clarkston and the Clarkston, Michigan one. We love them. Cheers. Thanks, everybody.
Okay.
Oh.
Cheers.
That was a little aggressive. Sorry. Bam!
It's caffeinated.
Thanks, Emma, for the mug. Did I just wrong?
So excited.
Someone take your coffee.
Oh man.
Oh my gosh. Awesome. They impressed us.
Oh, thank
I
you.
was not
Yeah, you
expecting
did your
all that.
research.
Yeah.